So this is really, really great to have you here, Dinesh Shamdasani, with us. So you're the editor-in-chief of Bad Idea.
I'm the CEO and Chief Creative Officer.
Okay, so and before that, you were working with Valiant.
Yes, I was again the CEO and Chief Creative Officer of Valiant Comics.
So could you tell us a little bit about your how you got into comic books? Sure. How did you get there?
Sure, it's a strange story. I was obviously a comic book fan growing up, but I loved Valiant. I didn't love Marvel or DC as much. I loved Valiant Comics, and then years later, I was working in the movie business, and Spider-Man came out, and X-Men 1 came out, and the studios when I was at Universal Studios. Everyone on the lot didn't understand why the movies were making so much money. And I knew, we all knew, comic fans knew, because of course, there's millions of people that love these characters. And I realized I was a little disenfranchised with where I was in that business. And I realized there's an opportunity here. I looked at my favorite characters, Valiant. I found that they'd been bought, since I stopped reading, by a video game company called Acclaim. Acclaim had mismanaged them and mismanaged their entire business. Their entire business went into bankruptcy, taking Valiant with it. And I thought, well, I'll go and I knew there was an auction coming. I read there's an auction coming. I'll go and read the documents and learn a little bit about that business. And it was such a long, protracted, weird situation. I ended up coming in second as a bidder. The lead bidder pulled out, and then we negotiated a reduced price. And I became the owner of Valiant, but I didn't know how to publish comics. I spent 15 years figuring that out, hiring really smart people, and launching the company. And we were very successful. We were very lucky. We were the biggest new publisher launch in 17 years, something like 1,000 awards over the 10 years I was there. Best new publisher.
Yeah, you were nominated for the Eisner Awards every single year.
Eisner's, Harveys, all sorts of stuff. It was nice. We had great creators. I mean, the talent that we were so lucky to have the talent we did.
Okay, so because we were working with Warren Simons also to
Warren, Warren was the editor-in-chief at Valiant. Okay. Yeah, he's great. He's one of maybe the best editor in the business.
So do you know how to explain how your work was your work mechanics?
We have a very strange mechanic. So Warren was our editor-in-chief, but the way that we produce the books is different than any other publisher. Everybody in the company has a voice. For instance, a bad idea. Every script that comes in, everybody reads. Every idea that's generated, the idea can come from anybody. It can come from the creator, it can come from the intern. Doesn't matter. We have big meetings, everyone talks. Every script comes in, everybody reads them. Everyone does notes. There's usually one person that's designated as the point person that talks to the writer, and we go many drafts of the script. Most other publishers don't do as many drafts as we do. Everyone does notes on those drafts. Everyone does notes on the art. Everyone does notes on the coloring, on the lettering, on the cover, on production, on the trade dress, everything, the whole company. So we have all that brain power. It takes a little longer up front, but we find the ideas are good enough. It's much quicker on the back end. It actually ends up being a quicker process. And then the last thing we do is we do a very, very, very deep lettering pass. So we will go through the book after the art is written, after the art is done, and we will rewrite many of the lines. The writers will rewrite them. They'll tweak them based on, is there a great face we didn't know was coming from the artist or a great face? Do we still need that line? Can we come up with a better line now? And so the books, I think, feel more cohesive. That's our process.
Okay. Could you explain us just a little bit why you left Valiant now 5 years ago?
Sure. They forced me to leave is the short answer. There was we had this one financier from China who DMG, who very much wanted to take to take the reins of it, and I think that we were doing very well on the film and TV side, and they really liked that side of it. So they wanted to run those projects, and they did a hostile takeover in many regards. They bought all the other investors out. When they had full control, they were able to force me out, and then a lot of the other employees, I think, decided over the course of the next 90 days or so to walk as well. Which was great for Bad Idea, because that's how Bad Idea came to be.
Yes, that's what I wanted to go for. So this is the origin story of Bad Idea. Is the
end of our time at Valiant and the beginning of DMG's time. So I was forced out, and I love comics, and they were very happy to force me out. They didn't do what you would normally do, which is say you must be here for 2 years. You're shackled to the company. You can't do anything. Non-compete. None of that. They made me a 30-day consultant. They never asked me any questions. Fine. And they didn't give me non-compete. So I was able to literally, the day that they forced me out, that day, start thinking about and working out on paper, what would the next thing look like? And Valiant was such a traditional publisher. We tried to do everything that everyone says you need to do as a publisher. Do it well. Tell great books. Put them everywhere. Digital, trades, everything. And I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot of what we didn't actually need to do. And it was boring to do it again. We'd climb that mountain. We'd won so many awards, set so many sales records. So with Bad Idea, we're trying to do different stuff. And I think a lot of it, like you can see here at New York Comic Con, this crazy picketing of the show is working. There's a lot of advertising, and some stuff maybe won't work. We'll see.
Yeah, but for the New York Comic Con, wouldn't you say that people would do anything to get free comic books?
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, at Valiant we did this thing where we would say to them, free comics, come get free comics, and we would hand them out for free. And that was, you would be getting people, but that was tougher than this. You make them do a little work. It's fascinating. This is kind of the philosophy behind Bad Idea. We will be there for you, and we will create great books, but we want you to meet us halfway. Do a little work, whether it's you got to go to a store that you don't normally go to. You can't just sit in your bed and get it digitally. You've got to read single issues. Or here, you've got to come and pick it for an hour. Literally take a picket sign from us and pick it, stop Bad Idea for an hour, and then come back and get the book. And we're like mobbed. Well, I mean, you literally would giving away more doing this than if we gave them away for free. It's nuts.
Okay. So, but why do you think that one of the bad ideas you got when you launched is that you're not going digital, so I can get it.
Yeah.
But you're not going for trade paper books, and that part I didn't get.
So there's a specific reason for that. Two reasons. One, internal business reason. When you do trades and hardcovers, unlike comic books, you don't print to order. You don't know what your orders are because trades sell over the course of many months. Hardcovers sell over many years even. Comic books, they're sold. You get one big order, 90% of your orders come in. They go in that store for the week that it's coming out. And then you have a couple, maybe 5, 10, 20% more over the next couple of weeks. But you know what you're printing. You don't have a lot of it in inventory. You have to warehouse. You have to hold it. With trades and hardcovers, you have to print these things for years. So I found at Valiant, by the time I was leaving Valiant, I had like $1 million, $2 million in inventory of trade paperbacks. I'm looking at the books thinking, that's money I could use to grow the company or put back into the comics to make better comic books. But it's just sitting there in trades that will sell over the next 3-4 years. So do we need it? Can we force the consumer to read single issues? And then couple that with the idea that it's not great for comic shops because the vast majority of trades, comic shops sell a lot of trades, but the vast majority of trades are sold in Amazon.
So, yeah.
And I don't know. We don't really, it doesn't help us to sell on Amazon. There's no, you can't go to Amazon, find a trade, and then bump into something else. So we don't really want you to do that. We want you to go to a store, find a Bad Idea book, and then learn about the other Bad Idea books, and then read everything we're doing. So we try and push everyone into this corridor where we have a little more control over the experience, and we can keep it high quality.
Okay, and the fact that you're not selling digital comic books is also like a restraint from people who don't have comic books shops near their hometown, or even if us Europeans and French don't have the comic book shops, we can't get to read them.
The international readership is the one big disadvantage that we're trying to solve for with digital comics. Digital comics tend to sell, at this point, I don't know if numbers are publicly talked about, I don't do digital comics, so I can talk about them. I'm not going to upset anybody. About 5%. That's how big the market is. Just 5% of print. If you compare that to video games, movies, music, I mean, it's nothing. You're not really losing anything. And of that 5%, a lot of it is sampling. People wake up in the morning, they buy a comic digitally, they go, I like this. And then they go to the store, they move to physical, they buy that same first issue again, now they're only reading physical. So we don't feel like we're losing much by doing that, except for international, where there aren't stores. So we're trying to figure out how to solve for that. The other big problem in digital is piracy is a huge issue. And piracy comes from those high resolution digital scans. The Bad Idea books, I think only ENIAC is available from a pirated site. Nothing else that we've done is available pirated, which means people go to the stores and buy them. And I think the main reason is we haven't allowed digital files to get out there.
Okay, but would you say that maybe a digital copies could help also to spread the word about Bad Idea because it would be more available, or even so sometimes piracy can also help spread the word, don't you think?
They do. When I was at Valiant, I went to a comic convention. I was invited to a comic convention in India, and I thought it was because I was Indian. And I said no for a long time, and finally they convinced me. And I went out there, and I thought no one's going to know our books. We don't sell books in India. And I had lines, hundreds of people in line to get signatures from me. I'm an executive. Why do they care? And I would ask them, I said, have you read our books? Yeah, we love your books. Next person, have you read our books? Yes. I thought maybe the con is telling these people to say that. Next person, what books do you read? Oh, I read Ivar Time Walker. I read Bloodshot. I'm like, really? Next person, what's your favorite story? They tell me. What's your favorite moment in that story? They knew it all. Finally, I said to someone, where are you getting our books?
Sure.
And they said, well, we all read them illegally, pirated. So yes, but they never convert. That's the problem. And, we try to make great art. We put a lot of ourselves into it. It is a business. We want the creators to get paid. We want to make sure we get paid so we can pay the creators. We want to continue. Publishing is a very, very difficult business, comic publishing. I don't know a lot of people know this, but almost every publisher in the business loses money. Mm-hmm. And you've got to keep alive and to keep being able to make great comics and have fun doing this and put art out to the world. You have to find ways to make the endeavor lose less money. And so, yes, digital would probably help more people read it, but it may not be paying customers. And so we're experimenting to see if we do it long enough, will those people that read digitally find a way? Do they want it badly enough? It's starting to show. The numbers are very strong. We're very happy. We didn't think we would sell what we're selling right now. The numbers are very strong. Our readership is very high. So we feel really emboldened by it, and we're doubling down. Even though you limited the number of comic books shops that could have access to your books. Yeah. So this is one of your other bad ideas. Like you don't want to sell your books everywhere. It's not that we don't want to sell books everywhere. And I think you set like some rules, and some comic book shops did ban
7 rules.
Got banned. We had 3 or 4 stores that willfully broke the rules. We give everyone a chance. You know, it's not like you break the rule once and you're out. We talked to them, and we had some stores that were like, yeah, we broke the rule on purpose. Well, don't do that anymore. No, we're going to keep doing it. Well, then we have to ban you. Fine, ban us. So we don't want to have an antagonistic relationship. And it's not that we don't want everybody. Here's what we want. We want everybody who wants us. There are lots of stores that only sell Marvel. There's stores that only sell Marvel and DC. There's stores that they don't know how to sell Bad Idea because they don't have a customer base for Bad Idea. We're wasting their time if we put our books in their stores. They're wasting our time if they put our books in their store. They're wasting our resources. At Valiant, I had this thing called the Pull Box Preview. We sent it once a month. It was a very thin, cheap preview of what was coming out, some pages from the upcoming books. It was so successful for us. And then as we grew, we got more stores. We had to make more of them. It got so expensive to make them for 3,000 stores around the world and send them. We stopped doing them. It actually hurt us. Here, with 275, 300 stores, we can call every store individually. Every time they have a problem, they can get in touch with us and we can personally solve that problem. We can do marketing to those stores specifically that we don't have to worry about because we're not spending a ton of money. It's only 275, 300 stores. That's really helped the readership grow. And on the creative side, I guess you just called everyone you've worked with at Valiant, because Matt Kind, Joshua Dysart, Thomas Giorgio, Alberto Ponticelli. It's all the gang from the Valiant era. We're all friends. Is back. Yeah. You know, one of the wonderful things about being in comics is you make these wonderful friends. It's so difficult. It's so much work in such a small amount of time to create a comic book at this level. It's like making a movie in 30 days. It's crazy. So you're in the trenches together. You become really, really good friends. And so everyone just wanted to keep working together. We have a blast doing it. And so are you asking them to do comic books with ideas you've got, or do they just like tell you they've got this kind of ideas and you help them make it into a comic book? Every possible version of it. It's both. Wyoming, we're looking at 2 books here. Wyoming was a terrible idea that we pitched Venditti, Robert, and Rob came back to us and said, okay, here's what I would do with it. I like that this part of it. I don't like this part of it. And we were like, oh, that's better. And then you start to build it. And then, you know, it's really his voice and his personality. Orc Island was another terrible idea that we had, that we pitched to Josh. And he was like, you know what? I have a lot of ideas of theme and mechanics and a motivation that I can bring to this book, and subtext, and it's become something completely that we never imagined, so much better than we imagined. But then there's other books like ENIAC. That was totally a Matt Kint idea. He pitched us an idea, and then we started throwing ideas out. What if it's like this? What if it's like that? And he starts building what ideas he likes. So it's a very back and forth process. Okay, would you say that Bad Idea is only aiming for the really comic book market, or are you also because you studied in television and cinema, so are you also aiming to sell IPs? Yeah, I mean, it's a natural part of the business. We're not, of course, we're aiming for comic books, we're aiming for the mass market, we're aiming for TV, we're aiming for video game, we're aiming for toys, all that stuff. We don't need it, but it happens now. It's a part of the business, and we'd be irresponsible if we didn't consider it. So yeah, it would be another bad idea. It would be another bad idea. It would fit in your modus operandi. But what we don't do is we don't make it a part of the marketing. So yes, there's a lot of stuff that is in various stages in film and TV for Bad Idea. I have a film and TV company on outside of Bad Idea, so I'm working with James Gunn and Taika Waititi and all these other people. So it's very simple when I'm talking about other projects. How's your day going? How's your life? Oh, put this book to bed. It's about this. Oh, let me check that out. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of overlap. we don't like to talk about it unless it's going to be very close.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of publishers, every publisher, and even us at Valiant, you get someone on board that's a name, you announce it immediately, it helps the sales of the books. We want the books sent on their own. We don't want to cloud it. Some stuff is almost leaked, and we've talked to press about, hey, do you really need to put that out? Is it that exciting? It's very early. We don't want to get the fans excited, and then they wait 4 or 5 years, and then it falls apart, and they get disappointed. We'd rather just talk about the books. But yes, of course, it's a part of what we're thinking.
Okay, and how many of you are doing like brainstormings for your marketing ideas? You know, your various stuff.
Yeah.
Like at one time, you sent rocks to your customers.
We did. There was no paper. There was a paper crisis.
Sometimes it's getting to an absurd point.
Our team is very small. So up until 2 weeks ago, there was 5 of us. There is Adam Freeman, who is a Eisner Award-winning retailer, sales genius. There is Josh Johns, who is our head of marketing. He's a genius in terms of marketing. There is Carl Ballers in editorial. There's Anthony Militano, who's operations, and then there's myself. That was it. That was the 5. And we've recently added 2 more. Peter Stern, who works with us at Valiant, and Aiden, who's brand new, and whose last name I'm forgetting, Aiden Lee. And he's coming to editorial. So there's 7 of us now, and that's it. And in terms of everything, sales, marketing, editorial, it's all brainstorming. We brainstorm everything with everybody. We're very conscious to keep the team small so we can do that, and to keep the personalities specific so we have the right kind of tone. We don't want to let politics get into our business. It's just like everything else. There's ego and hubris and politics in comics, and we've all had to work through that. And here, we don't have it right now at Bad Idea. We had a couple elements like that, and we managed to get rid of them. So right now, we're very, very happy with how the makeup is, and we're going to try and keep it that way.
So I think you're conscious also that there's kind of a game between you and your customers. When you announced that Bad Idea was ending, we really thought that we knew that you weren't ending at all.
Everyone must have,
And so, but there's sometimes also how long can you do something like that? You know, just trying to play the effect of surprise without people getting tired of you. You know, you can't do Bad Ideas ending to.
You can't do it again.
You know.
But I think we can. It's an experiment. We'll see. We'll both learn together. We'll all learn together. But I think it can go on forever. Here's why. The way we look at it is we tell stories. Orc Island, Escape from Wyoming. But all these stories. We also tell another story for free, which is the story of Bad Idea. And so we think about it as if we're making a comic book or a movie or whatever, it's the story of this company. What's happening to them? They launched. Oh no, now they're going away. Okay, now they came back, but they're a donut company. Now they sell rocks. Now they're going to be stopped. They must stop Bad Idea. Where we come to it with the same creativity that we do the comic books that we make. So I'm hoping that we can keep this narrative going. And if you don't want to read a Bad Idea comic, if you never want to go through the hoops that we ask, no problem. You get to partake in the Bad Idea story for free. And if you don't like the Bad Idea story, if it's annoying, if we're asking your attention too much, just look the other way.
Okay. And so, are you feeling like the pressure of all the other indie comic book publishers that are going, because there's a lot of creations in the last 3 years?
No, we're not feeling. I felt pressure at Valiant. Certainly at Valiant, the goal was to try and be little baby Marvel and to outdo all the other publishers. Here at Bad Idea, we're very happy with where we are. We don't ever need to grow bigger. We don't ever have to have a movie made. If it happens, great. As long as we can continue to make comic books and put them out in the way we have over the last, since we launched, we're good. So the pressure isn't there. And that's partly, I think, why we've had success, is there's an energy to us. There's a freedom that we have that allows us to just not have to take over the world. We can just be a little niche thing over there. One thing we say a lot inside the company is, we don't need to be something everybody likes, but we want to be something some people love. So it's not for everybody, but the people that it's for, maybe it's their favorite thing ever. That's what we want to try and be.
Okay, thank you very much, Dinesh.
Thank you, man. That was fun.